Hi guys, I have been receiving a lot of emails from different companies saying that their Black Friday has already started. The brands, they don't want to wait till the very end of November. That's too late in the shopping season. So they have started their deals now, and there are some really good deals from brands like Sony and SmallRig and ZHIYUN and others, Godox, you name it. People are putting a lot of stuff on sale, as you would expect during the shopping season. There are some great camera and lens deals. We'll get to those in a minute, but if you just want to go to the description, I will have everything listed and categorized below so you don't have to listen to my lovely voice. Why wouldn't you listen to me? I'm a treat. But first, let's talk about this little gimbal right here. This is the ZHIYUN Crane M3S. I love this guy because he's small and compact, lightweight but sturdy feeling. I think this is great as long as your camera and lens jive with the weight of this particular gimbal, then it is really the best you can do in terms of portability and compactness while having a really good performing gimbal, in my opinion. So I like to use this a lot with the ZV-E10 or the ZV-E10 Mark II and an 11mm lens. This is currently on for $249, which is a great price for this useful little guy. But if you want a gimbal that can handle even more payload and yet is cheaper, check this out. ZHIYUN is also putting the Weebill 3E on sale. Now this thing was already a great value, but this is on for $211, and I think that's bananas. It is just like the Weebill 3S that is from ZHIYUN, which is a little more premium in terms of its build quality, but this can do the same thing that more expensive gimbal can do, and it's still a sturdy gimbal. This is just a no-brainer at $211. Of course, it's not as compact as the 3S, but it can support pretty much any camera and lens combo that I certainly have, and it holds it just fine. A very smooth gimbal and a steal of a deal in my humble opinion. Let's just stick with ZHIYUN and the Cinepeer line for a second. ZHIYUN, by the way, has pretty much everything on sale, but I'm going to highlight my favorite things. This is the CF100. The Cinepeer line is the budget version of the ZHIYUN line, but to me, there's nothing really budget about them. I think they perform just as well. They're built really well, and they just happen to be cheaper. This is the CF100. It's an RGB light. I have two of these set up over there for my second angle in the studio because I can just shine them on either side of my face and it lights it up great. It has a little diffuser. This little bag here just slips over the doors and gives you a nice soft light, or you can use the RGB functions to light up the background like I've done with two other of these CF100s. I am using a daylight balance right there on this wall, and I am using the 238 hue blue over here to light up my camera crisis sign. I can't live without these lights right now. I love them, and they are, let me see, $143, which I think is a really good deal on a wand light. And the last thing I will mention from ZHIYUN right now is this X60. You may notice I lost a little blue light on my back because I have a couple of these on the floor illuminating different parts of the wall to get my lighting just right. I love these things. Also RGB, and they're portable. You can just snap this on right here, this battery, but I leave mine plugged into mains into the wall when I'm in my studio. You can get accessories for these things. I find them very useful. It's $249. They are down now to $249, so they're not dirt cheap, but these are extremely high quality 60-watt lights, so you get a ton of light out of this little guy. And I can't tell you the number of times I have used my X60 because it is constant. Tiny, gorgeous little steampunk looking lights. That's the whole thing right there. Look at how small that light is. Full RGB, powerful, color accurate. Really can't say enough good things about the X60. Put my little X60 back, and now I have my perfect lighting once again. Now check this out. This might be the best deal I have seen. The Hollyland Lark M2, which I love. If you watch this channel, you know I love this. Look at how small these little transmitters are. Oh my goodness, there's two of them. They have little magnets on the back, and this is the receiver right here. And as you can see, that is not too big either. That just goes on top of your camera. Comes with all kinds of accessories like these little wind muffs or these clips if you want to clip it on to your clothes instead of just use the magnet. I just use the magnet on my shirt. In fact, I just reverse it under my shirt and I don't even use these wind muffs and it comes out great. But if you do have it on the front of your shirt, you can actually get these little stickers. They come with it and you can just black out the stickers or add a little personality with these stickers right here, and they are reusable. I think that is a cool touch. Now this $111 price, that's how much it is, 38% off. It also comes with the full package where you can get the iPhone, the older iPhone receiver right there, and you can also get a USB-C one for the newer iPhones, or if you have a different Android phone. These things sound so great. They're so small that you don't even feel them when they are on. And at $111, that is just a crazy good deal. But as good as $111 is, $87 is even better. This is the Godox Magic XT1, also a tiny little wireless microphone. The receiver actually houses magnetically the transmitters there. Do you see that? Look at how small this thing is right there. Is that in focus? It is not in focus. Can't even focus on it. It's so small. Look at that. That is beauty. So I also just clipped this under my shirt with the magnet. And again, $87. That's bananas. I did a full test of this thing. I actually compared it to the Hollyland Lark M2, so you can go check that out and see which one you prefer. And before I get into the bigger cameras, I'm going to mention this tiny little action camera. This is the DJI Action 4. This is on for $209. I love this thing. I've used it a ton on my channel, especially when I go do my photo walks, strap it to my chest, put on a harness like a husky dog, and then I take this around, take my old snappy snaps. I love the DJI Action 4, and it is $209. So now let's talk about some cameras. Sony's put a lot of cameras on sale, and some of them are really quite good. What you're looking at right now is the FX30. That's what I am shooting on. That is $200 off. That's the most they've ever taken off the FX30. But not only can you get $200 off, sometimes you can get a bundle with the FX30 and get some more things like an SD card or a little carrying case, stuff like that. So keep an eye out for just more than the $200 off, but still $200 off the FX30, I think is fantastic. $100 off my little Dougie, the ZV-E10. This thing is now $598 without a lens. And my whole channel was made on this little camera, so I love it. And I think the image quality still holds up to this day. $598 for a ZV-E10. I think that you just can't do any better bang for buck than that. And they do put it on sale now quite often at $100 off, but still $598 for this camera. A lot of the older generation APS-C cameras are on sale as well. A6400, A6600, A6100. So if you're looking for cheaper ways to get into the Sony system, then those cameras are there as well. But still, you're not going to get any cheaper than $598. So with Sony full frame, I should mention the other camera that's my B angle right now is the ZV-E1. That is $300 off. So now $1,900 for my most used cameras. The camera I use the most because I use it when I go traveling or I take it out or I have to do something on the go with that dynamic active stabilization. It's fantastic stabilization in the camera. It takes amazing video. It's the same sensor as the FX6 and the FX3. I do 4K 120 with a tiny little crop, 4K 60 with no crop at all. The camera's just great, and I don't have any overheating issues with it unless I am streaming in 4K 30 for more than 30 minutes, and then I just get this thing I was looking for, my little Ulanzi fan, and I put that on, also on sale. By the way, I just put that on the ZV-E1, and I am ready to go. But a deal I've never seen before is the A7 IV on for $400 off. So arguably Sony's best hybrid camera in terms of value with its 2 card slots and its great photo capabilities and great video capabilities. The flip out full tilting 360-degree flip screen, and just a workhorse of a camera. I have loved this since the day that I pre-ordered it. The A7 IV, $400 off, cheapest I've ever seen it. But if you're looking for a less expensive way to get into the Sony full-frame system, the A7 III, one of the gold standards back in the day, the A7 III, you can have it for $1,300. So you have 2 card slots, you can take professional photo, professional video. It is an 8-bit camera with a 30-minute time limit, so when it comes to video, it might not be the absolute best choice, but certainly for photos, it's fantastic. And you can do excellent video with it. It's just there are better options, such as the A7C. Now, the A7C is on sale, but it's only $100 off, so that's $1,500, whereas this one is $1,300. Now, arguably the best deal Sony is offering is $500 off the A7R5. It's such a good deal, in fact, that I'm going to pick one up myself. I really want that tilty swivel, that 15-axis screen. It has 9.44 million dot viewfinder. It can shoot 8K, and it has 61 megapixels. So when I'm doing my lens tests, I'll really get to see how well the lenses resolve that 61 megapixel image. So $500 off, you got me, Sony. I can't resist. Now, it's not just Sony's on sale, of course. The Canon R5, this is actually the R5 II that Camera Canada is letting me borrow to test out for a little while, but the Canon R5 is down to $2,800. That is a really good price for the original Canon R5 8K camera that can do pretty much everything. That $2,800. That's $1,100 off. The Canon R6 Mark II is $1,900. So less than $2,000, you can get the Canon R6 II. They have other cameras on sale as well, but those two are my personal favorites out of the Canon lineup right now. Now, Lumix is always up for a good sale, and the S5 IIX is $2,000. Slightly less, like $3 less than $2,000. Great price on the S5 IIX. And the S5 II is $1,700. I didn't think that was right. I had to double check it when I wrote it down. $1,700 for the Lumix S5 II. What a great camera for $1,700. Now, if you want that same sensor and IBIS in a smaller package that's even cheaper, the S9 is available. This is $1,500 right now. They took away those overheat time limit restrictions. And when I use this camera, I don't have any overheating problems. I can just record my videos for an hour, hour and a half. The overheat warning light doesn't even come on. So I think this is now a great content creation camera. I have been using this for all the short form content. I do the 6K open gate. I use the little 9:16 guidelines so that I can actually see what I'm doing, what it'll look like when I'm on the TikTok popping my booty, and I really like this camera for that purpose. And then you want to take it out of the studio. It's so small and lightweight. I think this is going to be a bit of a sleeper hit. I know there was some controversy over it, but now that those time limits have been taken away in video, I think a lot of content creators are going to want to pick this up. Nikon has some great sales as well. The fantastic Nikon Z8 is $500 off, and the Z7 Mark II is actually $1,000 off. So good prices there. With lenses, let's start with the APS-C for Sony. This is the 11mm f1.8, a small, lightweight lens that is the best vlogging lens that you can get for the Sony APS-C system. There's just no doubt about that. Yongnuo has an 11mm that's pretty good, but this one is the absolute best, and it's $50 off. Sony does this thing where they often put their 3 really popular APS-C lenses on sale. They do $50 off the 11. The 15mm that you're looking at right now, that's on my FX30, that's $100 off. And then the 10 to 20 f4 lens, that is $100 off as well. Other brands are putting their lenses on sale as well. Viltrox is having a massive sale, and their 1.2s, this one's the 27mm, one of the best lenses I have ever tested for the APS-C system. This one is going to be 10% off, as is the 75mm f1.2, which I think is the best portrait lens that you can buy regardless of brand for the Sony E-mount system. And they are also putting their tiny little compact 56mm f1.7, just a sharp lens that is fantastic for autofocusing. It is an excellent portrait lens, and this one is, how much is it? $153. $153 for this tiny lightweight lens that takes some really great photos. Another good deal on a portrait lens is this Meiki 55mm f1.4. So it's a 1.4 instead of a 1.7, and this one is $159. It's only $6 more than that Viltrox lens, and you're going to get a slightly blurrier background and slightly better low light capabilities, getting that 1.4 versus the 1.7. Out of the two, it's really hard to choose. I did do a video review on the two lenses, so you can check that out and try to decide for yourself. Either way, you'll be happy. Meiki also has this 33mm f1.4 for $183. So that is crazy. Just when you think the Sigma 30mm 1.4 is cheap, Meiki comes out with this 33 1.4 for $183 on sale right now. That is just a wonderful deal. A 33mm will be great for street photography, street videography, when you're doing some travel, things like that. It'll look very close to what the human eye sees, so it's very true to life photos and videos, and you can use it in a studio. If you were to put this on that camera, you would just back up the camera about 12 feet from you, and you would get this type of shot. Everybody's favorite Sigma 18-50, a compact, tiny zoom that is just so sharp, and you can basically do macro photography with it. It is certainly the best replacement you can get for your Sony APS-C kit lens. That is now 13% off. So that's one of the most popular lenses that I have ever reviewed on this channel. People love it. With full frame lenses, Sony's put pretty much everything on about $100 off, all of their G Masters and their G lenses. As long as it's not one of the brand new lenses, then you are going to get about $100 off. And some of them you'll get $200 off. I will list them below because there are too many to list. But this one right here is overall my favorite G Master lens. This is the 24mm f1.4. That one is $100 off. And before this one, I was using the Sony 20mm f1.8 G lens, and that is $100 off. The Sony 50mm f1.8, while not the fastest autofocus lens in the world, and it is a little bit noisy and cheap feeling, it is under $200. So to get a nifty 50 native Sony lens for less than $200, that's pretty great. And for full frame, once again, the third-party lenses are coming in hot. This one is the Meiki 85 f1.4, which holds up image quality wise to the Sony 85mm 1.4 G Master version 2. It is certainly not as good of a lens as that $1,800 lens. However, the image quality at times looks indistinguishable, and it autofocuses very well. It's not great at tracking really fast moving subjects, but if you're just taking portraits, which most people like to do, with an 85 and your subject is standing still, then you're not going to have any trouble at all with the autofocus. Very snappy and responsive. It's only if you're trying to shoot sports or birds or something like that that you'll have to worry about that fast tracking with your moving subject. So other than that, this thing is absolutely fantastic. It was already a steal at its price, and it's $376 right now. So the Sony G Master 85 version 2, $1,800. This one, $376 to get very similar looking pictures. This is sharp as a tack. You can zoom in 250% and it will keep up with that G Master. I did a full comparison of the G Master to this lens, and I was pretty shocked. Speaking of shocked, this 135 Viltrox lens, my goodness, the build quality on this bad boy is unbelievable, as is the image quality. It is a big, chunky, heavy lens at about 1,300 grams, but image quality wise, it is on par with that G Master 135 f1.8. Once again, you're shooting sports, fast action, you're trying to track moving subjects, go with the G Master, don't go with this thing. But if you're not doing that, you're taking portraits, you're doing different types of photos where you need a 135 focal length, then you really can't go wrong with this at its full price, which is $899, but they put it on for $746. They just released this. I am really surprised to see a deal on this. I think it might be because Samyang put their very good 135 f1.8 on for $706. And that lens, it holds up pretty well. It's not quite as good optically as this lens or the GM version 135. However, the Samyang is much smaller and lighter and will really save your wrist taking around a smaller lens. And it is $706. And if you read the comments of when I compared this lens to the Samyang 135 and the Sony 135, the people who own Samyang, they were chiming in about how much they loved their Samyang lens. So Samyang / Rokinon, they are the same company. So when you see that type of adoration from people who use the lens, you know you have a special lens there as well. So that one is on for $706 if you want a smaller, lighter 135. But this one here, $746. and optically about as good as it gets. Viltrox has also put their small lightweight budget line on sale. These things were already a good deal. The 20mm f2.8 and the 40mm f2.5. These are full frame lenses, if you can believe it. Look at the size of these things. Full frame lenses using the exact same housing. In fact, they use the same housing as the APS-C 56mm f1.7. You see that? That's how they save some costs. That is kind of cool, and these things are just so small and lightweight. Let me see how much they are. The 20mm is $149, and the 40mm is $142. So less than $150 for each of these lenses that perform excellently. Now, if you're looking for a drone, the DJI Air 3 is 20% off. When we're talking lights this holiday season, I think the two best values are the Amaran and this small rig right here. The small rig RC series, the 120 series, this is the bicolor version, but I would just get the daylight version because it's cheaper and that's all generally you need. I'm actually using one right now to light up my ceiling in the back there. I've got a lot of lights around the studio to make myself look this handsome. I really need them. But that's $170 for, it comes with a nice carrying case, and it's got a power cord to go into mains, and a very bright light at 120 watts for $170. The bicolor one is on sale too, so if you need bicolor, you want to switch between warm and cool light, there you go. This one's on sale. It's a few bucks more than the 120D. But Amaran does have a really good deal on their 100D. That's $159. Not 120 watts like the small rig, but 100 watts is usually plenty. And $159, that's a great price from a great company with, you know, that awesome Sidus Link app that they have. And if you're looking for an RGB light that won't break the bank, once again, I think you should look at Amaran. The 150C, that is their RGB version. That's $287. That is a great price for a powerful RGB light. My recommendation for a budget microphone is this VM30 by Comica. Comes in this nice carrying case, and there is the microphone right there. It's got all kinds of bells and whistles. One of the bells and whistles is that this can be a wireless microphone. You can just send this right to this little receiver there, plug that into your camera, and you don't even have to use a cord. Now, you can run a cord, 3.5mm, right to your camera, but you can use this wireless little receiver. That is so cool. Now, Comica has come out with the VM40, which is a similar microphone, except it's 32-bit float internal recording, which is fantastic. But that one is not on sale this holiday season, whereas the VM30 is. This mic can be had for $143, which is an excellent value. Now, you're going to need some storage. The Sony Tough Card is the only card that I recommend because I've broken too many of the other ones. Drop them, crack them, or they just fall apart, get brittle over the years. Just heavy use, pulling them in and out of cameras and out of my MacBook Pro, which has a really tight slot. No jokes, everybody, but it makes my cards brittle, but not these Sony Tough Cards, and I think these are the way to go. If you need 4K 120, make sure you get the V90 cards. If you don't need the 4K 120, you're probably okay with the V60 cards. And speaking of storage, this is the Samsung T7. It is an SSD drive. It is blazing fast, so I actually use this to edit all of my projects, and then I move the footage off onto my NAS. But this thing I absolutely love, and the 2TB version is 48% off, if you can believe that. $139 for a 2TB SSD drive. I think that's fantastic. And this Lano charger that I love is 20% off. I love it because not only does it charge 2 of my batteries, but it is a power bank as well. So I can just charge up my batteries on the go from the power bank, or I can use the power bank to power different things, charge my phone, run my laptop off it. It is just fantastic. You can see right there, there's 2 batteries that are fully charged, and the power bank itself is at 100%. So I think this thing is so great for travel. But full disclosure, I have done paid sponsorship with this company. But the reason I did the paid sponsorship is because I really believed in the product. But that is a working relationship that I have had with Lano. But I recommend this charging power bank. So take my bias as you will. Like I said, I will list all of the deals that I have mentioned, plus more, down below in the description. If you find some good deals, why don't you write them in the comments, then I will steal them, put them in my description, and give you no credit whatsoever. Thanks for watching this. We'll talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.